A chill wind swirled around Hour, whipping her hair across her face as she hurried home. She clutched her keys in a white-knuckled grip, her heart pounding against her ribs like a trapped bird. Every shadow seemed to stretch and twist, taking on a life of their own in the fading light. The encounter with Zain had been nothing more than a casual introduction, a fleeting moment of connection in the crowded marketplace. But now, as she stood before her apartment door, those carefree moments felt like a lifetime ago. It had all started so innocently. She was browsing the bustling market, the vibrant colors and enticing aromas of spices filling the air, when she'd first noticed him. Zain, with his easy smile and mischievous eyes, had struck up a conversation with her out of nowhere. They'd joked, they'd laughed, and before she knew it, they'd found themselves standing side by side, staring at the tattoo parlor hidden between a spice merchant and a perfumer. It was just a spur-of-the-moment decision, a way to commemorate their newfound friendship. And when they'd both agreed to get the same tattoo, the tattooist had suggested 1111, two numbers that held a special significance for those who believed in fate. At the time, it had seemed like a harmless joke, a quirky souvenir of their day. Little did she know that this seemingly innocent decision would soon transform into a nightmare. But now here she was, the tattoo burning and throbbing on her wrist, the clock on the wall ticking away the hours until 11:11 p.m. As the hands of the clock moved closer to 11:11, the horror began to set in. She hadn't seen Zain since they'd gotten the tattoos, and suddenly she wished she never had. A shiver ran down her spine as she thought back to Zain's words, "You're my chosen one, my end." His grin had been wide and unwavering. At the time, she'd brushed it off as a strange joke. Now she wasn't so sure. With shaking hands, she unlocked the door to her apartment and stepped inside, quickly locking the door behind her. She needed to call someone, anyone, but the moment she reached for her phone, the screen flashed with a message. It was from Zain. "Tick-tock, my dear. Time is running out," it read, her breath caught in her throat. How had he gotten her number? Had he been watching her? Fear coiled in her stomach, squeezing tight. Then she turned to the mirror, her reflection staring back accusingly. And that's when she saw it, a twisted smile playing on her lips, a smile she hadn't realized she'd been wearing. Panic surged through her. She wanted to scream, to shatter the silence, but no sound escaped her lips. Her body felt heavy, like leaden weights were pulling her down. Was this real, or was it a trick of the flickering candlelight? But then the clock struck 11, and with each chime, the smile on her reflection widened. By the time the last stroke echoed through the room, the smile was a grotesque parody of joy. Hour stumbled back, knocking over a chair in her haste. She had to get away from the mirror, from the grinning specter that mocked her. But before she could take a step away, the tattoo on her wrist flared, searing hot pain shooting up her arm. Then the tattoo began to change. Strange symbols writhed and twisted beneath her skin, contorting into shapes that seemed both ancient and alien. The room spun, and she collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath. As she struggled to catch her breath, she heard it again, the unmistakable sound of footsteps in the hallway outside her apartment. Heavy, deliberate steps that seemed to echo the thudding of her own heart. Then came a knock, a sharp, insistent rapping that rattled the very foundations of her being. Who was out there? What did he want? She scrambled back, pressing her back against the cold glass of the mirror. There, reflected in its depths, she saw not her own terrified face, but the specter of something else, something that sent a fresh wave of terror crashing over her. The specter was tall and gaunt, its edges blurred and indistinct like a half-remembered dream. Its eyes burned with an eerie, otherworldly light, and its mouth was twisted into a cruel mockery of a smile. Another knock, louder this time, followed by a voice that scraped against her nerves like a rusty blade. "Hour, my dear, it's time." Her blood ran cold. How did he know her name? Had he been watching her? Had he known her all along? The thought paralyzed her with fear. But then something unexpected happened. The figure in the mirror lurched forward, reaching out a hand that seemed to be made of smoke and shadow. Our recoiled, but there was nowhere left for her to go. The wall was cold and unyielding behind her. The specter's touch sent a jolt of icy fire through her. The mirror behind her cracked, spider web lines spreading from where its fingers had touched the glass. Then it pushed forward, and the mirror gave way. From the shards emerged the specter in its full horrifying glory. It was wreathed in flames that licked and twisted around its emaciated form, and its eyes burned with an infernal light. One finger traced a path down its chest, leaving a smoking trail in its wake. With a guttural voice that scraped against her sanity, it spoke. "You cannot hide from me. I am your end." Her mind reeled, struggling to comprehend what she was seeing. The specter stepped out of the shattered mirror, its gaze boring into hers. Our could feel her resolve crumbling like sand slipping through her fingers. She wanted to scream, to run, but terror had frozen her in place. And that's when she remembered the tattoo, the 1111 inked onto her wrist. She looked down at it, and in the dim light, she saw the truth. The clock on the wall chimed again, 11:10. The specter lunged, and she cried out as its icy fingers closed around her wrist, the one with the tattoo. She wanted to pull away, to claw at the creature, but her whole body felt heavy, like a leaden shroud had been thrown over her. Then she heard a voice in her head, cold and merciless. "You are mine now, Hour. You belong to me." The specter tightened its grip, and she gasped in pain. She wanted to fight back, to scratch and bite, but she couldn't move. It was like a vice squeezing the life out of her. Suddenly, a wild idea sparked within her. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, she kicked out, aiming for the specter's face. Her foot connected with something solid, and for a moment, she felt a surge of hope, but that hope was short-lived. The specter merely shook its head, and the blow seemed to have no effect. In that moment, she knew she had to do something drastic. Looking down at the tattoo, she saw the answer. The 1111 burned into her skin, a brand that marked her as his property. But it also represented something else, a countdown. Each second that passed brought her closer to the creature's final form. As the clock chimed 11:11, she felt the specter stiffen, its grip on her wrist momentarily loosening. That was all the opening she needed. Bringing her heel down hard, she pressed into the tattoo, digging her shoe into the flesh. Pain shot up her arm, but she ignored it, gritting her teeth and digging deeper. The specter screamed, a sound that tore through the night, shattering the silence like a cannon blast. Its form flickered, wavering like a candle flame in the wind. Our pressed her attack, driving her heel into the tattoo again and again. The specter convulsed, its form becoming more and more translucent until it looked like a wisp of smoke caught in the draft. Its grip on her wrist loosened further, and finally, with a last desperate lunge, she ripped her hand free. The specter screamed again, this time in frustration, and it lashed out, its fingers grazing her cheek. But before it could do any real damage, it dissipated, leaving behind a faint whisper of smoke. Our stumbled back, pressing her hand to her cheek, her heart pounding in her chest. As the first rays of sunlight crept through the curtains, she found herself trembling, her body aching and her mind reeling from the events of the night. Glancing down at her wrist, she saw that the tattoo had vanished, leaving behind only a faint glow where it once burned. The specter was gone, but its parting words echoed in her mind. "You may have won this time, Hour, but you can't hide from me forever." But despite the threat, Hour felt a surge of triumph. She had survived the night, and that was all that mattered. Standing up, she walked to the window and looked out at the world, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin and the gentle breeze on her face. She was alive, and in that moment, she knew that the scar she bore, both visible and invisible, was a testament to her strength, a reminder that she had faced the darkness and come out on top.